hearing in the news about the conflict that's broken out between Azerbaijan and its ethnic Armenian enclave of Nagorno-Karabakh. It's a mountainous region. It's sort of a forested patch of land, about 4,400 square kilometres, about the size of Kangaroo Island, that sits inside Azerbaijan. And it's recognised under international law as part of that country. At the moment, scores are dead, but the figures are disputed and hundreds have been injured. And each side has blamed the other for instigating the deadly clashes. Shelling continues. So what's the history behind this conflict and how might it be resolved? Farid Subaverdi is a member of the Azerbaijani community here in Canberra and joins me in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to have you today.
Very well, thanks. Now tell me, where is this region? I said it's sort of a land within a land.
Okay, Azerbaijan, and it's actually the Caucasus region on the border of Russia, Georgia, Armenia, Turkey, Iran, and Caspian Sea. So we can see that it's the far east Europe and it's far west Asia. So it's a gate for Asia and Europe.
Now this Nagorno-Karabakh.
Yep.
It's why is this particular region disputed?
It's actually going very long history. We can actually talk about like hours and hours about it. But like mainly it started when the First World War finished, and then the countries Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan had a confederation under the Transcaucasian Confederation Republic. It's formed under these three countries. So later on, these countries actually just dissolved this federation and declared their own independency. When they declared the independency, because there was autonomous account of the Khanate, Qarabağ Khanate, which is the small Khanate ruled by Azerbaijan and Azerbaijani authorities. So what happened, it was under the Tsar Russia, and then during this the events after the First World War, after the presence of British troops under the General Thompson, the governance of this region is given to Azerbaijan, and after the Paris Peace Conference, it's actually identified as the borders of these three countries, Georgia and Azerbaijan and Armenia, and Qarabağ is recognized as Azerbaijani international recognized territory of Azerbaijan.
So it's not its own country. How is it governed?
It was actually autonomous republic when it was during the Soviet Union. But the thing is, there are the population of Azerbaijanis and Armenians, and the Armenians are claiming that this is their actually prevailing population in there. But there are many facts and the historical facts that there have been ethnic cleansing. What happened actually when in 1905, the Armenians are started to flee from Ottoman Empire. They actually came under Bolshevik Revolution. There is actually the Bolshevik Revolution happening in Russia, and the Russia are using Armenian militia, the army kind of forces, against Ottoman, against in the area of Russia to control some areas. So Azerbaijan, one of the states actually declared as independent and trying to actually identify its borders. So Armenia also had a conflict with Georgia at that time, and the Nagorno-Karabakh, the region itself, it was the interest of
keep going. It's an area of interest.
Yeah.
Is it specifically that area? Is it special in a way? Why was that region chosen? That mountainous 4,400 kilometres.
The name of Qarabağ, it means that the big garden, a big beautiful garden. So Qara in Azerbaijani, it means the garden. The Qara is a big, the garden is the Bagh. So that's why it's a big garden. It's a beautiful mountainous like a heaven, and it's been called by Azerbaijanis, Conservatoire of the Caucasus. Why? Because the Uzair Hajbayev, Azerbaijani composer, very famous Azerbaijani composer, is the one first in the Eastern Muslim world composed the opera. So when we got our independence in 1918, so we had actually the composer from this region, and there are many people who are talented in music and coming from Azerbaijani background, but Azerbaijanis and Armenians live in the region together. But the thing started when they had the Dashnaks. Dashnak is the party is created by Armenia, and they have a dream of a great Armenia from sea to sea. So they're actually considering from Mediterranean Sea, from Black Sea to the Caspian Sea. So they're actually claiming the whole region. So it's not just actually Nagorno-Karabakh. So at the moment, what happened in, after the end, towards the end of the Soviet Union, in 1988, what happened, Armenians started to ethnically cleansing Azerbaijanis, and the confrontation started again because they understand that the Soviet Union is actually ending. And then what happened there is quite interesting, that not just from Nagorno-Karabakh, in the other areas, for example, in Yerevan, in the capital city of Armenia, there were Azerbaijanis living. At the same time, Armenians were living in Azerbaijan, in Baku. So when you look at the population of Armenia and Azerbaijan at the moment, you can see there are Armenian population in Azerbaijan. We're still keeping them, but there are no one single Azerbaijani living in Armenia now. So this is what happened. They actually ethnically cleansed, and because they don't have a land access to Nagorno-Karabakh, what they did actually, they occupied surrounded 7 districts of Azerbaijan, and to reach the Nagorno-Karabakh. And it's 20% of Azerbaijan, which is recognized, like the first League of Nations, we entered with these borders, and then the United Nations recognized these borders.
It's a complicated because we have to go back through all the history. My guest this morning is Farid Sabhanverdi. He's a member of the Azerbaijani community here in Canberra, ex-diplomat for Azerbaijan, it has to be said. But also, what your connection? When you see this unfold again, Farid, what are you seeing?
What I see is that it's really hard to say at the moment what's going to be unfold and how it's going to be concluded. But the thing is, when we had a ceasefire in 1994, since 1994, Azerbaijani, 20% of Azerbaijan under the occupation of Armenia. And the thing is, this is the internationally recognized Azerbaijani territories. And after the occupation, United Nations Security Council, 4 resolutions demanding unconditional and immediate withdrawal of Armenian army forces from occupied Azerbaijani lands. United Nations General Assembly, European Parliament of Europe, the Council of Europe, and there are many other international organizations that are demanding it from Armenia. And Armenia actually saying that we are the party that want to solve this problem within the peace talks. But the thing is, when we had any improvement in the peace talks, Armenia is actually distracting this peace talks negotiations because the status quo is in favor of Armenia.
Why is that?
Because they occupied the land and they are claiming Nagorno-Karabakh, and they have actually additional 7 districts, so they're happy with this.
Even though it's Azerbaijani territory, recognised under international law as part of Azerbaijan.
Yeah, even the Nagorno-Karabakh is the internationally recognized. It's not a disputed area. It's recognized
just because they are occupying that.
It's not just because they're occupying. It's because when we actually entered the United Nations, we entered within these borders. So what's happening now is quite interesting. One point, Armenia is trying to say to the world that we are fighting with Armenia. So we are not fighting with Armenia. We are actually having a battlefield in our land, within our territories. So how can you claim that Azerbaijan is an aggressor and attacking you?
Now, what might happen if this escalates?
I actually see one thing here. The negotiation processes, it's actually was under the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, which is the Minsk group, created in 1994. And they're actually trying to solve this problem, we had a lot of progress in different ways. But what happened then, 2 years ago, Armenian government changed, and the new Prime Minister of Armenia declared that Nagorno-Karabakh is Armenia. So this is ending all negotiations. So because you are negotiating, saying that, okay, Nagorno-Karabakh wants to be like the self kind of dependent country or something, but like just in a sudden, it's just deciding that, you know what, it's my land. And like it's actually completely distracting the negotiation format and the structure being actually held more than 27 years. So that's why what happened in 2016, we had a escalation, intensified. Many people died from civilians, from the soldiers. And then the last one, it happened in mid-July this year. And in mid-July this year, what happened? It wasn't on the borderline, the contact line of the conflict. It was directly Azerbaijani and Armenian border, which is the Azerbaijani energy supplies pass through the Georgia and Turkey and supplying Europe with energy.
Yeah,
and they target these pipelines, and we're just surprised at what's going on. They're claiming more land from us. Yeah,
It's no doubt it will continue to unfold. We'd appreciate. I really appreciate